Well, hello, friends. I hope you're having a great day today. Good to be with you this morning. It's Wednesday's edition of Take 5, and we are breaking down the message that I preached this past Sunday. That message was entitled, Giving Our Children Back to God. It's part 2 and the final part of a series that I was preaching concerning this idea of baby dedication, so that we really understand what it truly is to give our children back to God. It's a lifelong experience, it's a lifelong responsibility, and it's probably the heaviest responsibility, yet the greatest privilege that any person could ever have is to be given these children that God expects us to be stewards and managers of. And to see them fulfill the plan and purpose God has for them, man, that's an awesome experience. So this week we are talking about 3 things. Monday, Tuesday, we talked about holding them back, and we still have got to talk about hiding them and hedging them in. Today we're going to talk about hiding them, probably linger over into tomorrow with that as well. Concerning this idea of hiding them. Again, I don't want it to sound like I'm being overprotective. I'm not. We need to catch the spiritual application from this. When I think about hiding, I think about what Moses' parents did with him when he was a newborn infant. You see, Israel was captive to the nation of Egypt there. And Egypt was really trying to put pressure on Israel to stop them from growing as a nation. But the Bible said the more they afflicted them, the more they grew. And so Pharaoh said to the Egyptian midwives, he said, when you go in and you help those Hebrew women deliver their babies, if it's a boy, you kill it. But if it's a girl, you let it live. Well, those midwives didn't do that. They had a fear of Jehovah God for some reason, and they just didn't do that, and that displeased Pharaoh. So Pharaoh sent out his soldiers into all the land and into all the homes of the Hebrews. And if they found a baby that was a boy that had been born or newborn or firstborn, they were to take that little boy and throw him into the river. The beast would either consume him, the child would drown, or be carried away by the currents of the Nile River, but totally destroyed. And that Pharaoh thought would help eliminate the problem they had with this growing nation of Israel. And so that's what the soldiers did. They began to go from house to house with the Hebrews, and they were getting those baby boys and throwing them in the river. Exodus chapter number 2 picks up with this story. The woman conceived, and that woman's name we believe to be Jochebed. That's Moses' mother. Jochebed conceived, bore a son, and when she saw that he was a fine child, she hid him 3 months. That's where we get the idea of hiding them. She hid him 3 months, which is what you and I and anybody else would have done if we were afraid that soldiers were coming to get our little baby boy and throw him in the river. We would do everything that we could to hide them. Now, Jochebed did not just see Moses through physical eyes. She saw him through spiritual eyes. She saw that he was a handsome young man. She saw that he was a well-developed baby, but she also saw that he had a greater purpose. And when she saw him and knew that he had a greater purpose, she began to hide him. Well, every one of these little babies that's born today has a greater purpose. We've got a church full of little babies right now that have a greater purpose. We read from Jeremiah last week how God said, before you were ever born, before I formed you in the womb, I had a special purpose for you. And so every one of these children has a special purpose with God, and we need to do, as parents, we need to do like Jochebed and Moses' father did, and we need to hide them because we see there's something special about them. Now, the word hide does mean exactly what you think. It's to conceal from the view of others, and that is something that's necessary. There's some things that they need to be hidden from in this world. There's some things that they don't need to be exposed to. There's some things that we don't need to open the door to. We need to hide them from those things. But then there's another definition that means to reserve for something special at a later date. And so when Jochebed saw the purpose in Moses, not only did she hide him from the soldiers, but she began to hide him to reserve him for something special at a later date. That's what we're doing with our children. That's why we hide them from some things in the world. We're reserving them for something special that God has for them at a later date, whether it be marriage or ministry or whatever the case may be. We are reserving them for something special, and so we hide them. And the third definition of the word hide is to mix and combine, and we get that idea from the New Testament. The Bible tells us that the kingdom of heaven is like leaven that is hidden in meal. It's to mix and combine in there. So we have the responsibility then of mixing and combining the things of God into their life. So this is a threefold plan, this idea of hiding them. Not only do we hide some things of this world from them, but we're reserving them for something special in the future by hiding them. And by hiding, we're also mixing and combining the things of God into their life so that they can fulfill the purpose that God has for them. I can't tell you how important this concept of hiding is, to conceal them from some things, to reserve them for something special, and to mix in the things of God into their life so that they are ready to fulfill the purpose when we do what we talked about yesterday and we pull them back and we launch them. We know they're ready because we concealed them from some things, we reserved them for some things, and we mixed the things of God in them. Hey, we're going to talk a little bit more about hiding tomorrow and that basket boat that Jochebed built for Moses. We're going to talk about that tomorrow on Thursday's edition of Take 5. I look forward to seeing you then. Until then, God bless you. Have a great day. Remember, friend, trust the Lord. He will never fail you.